Hey everyone, I want to talk about PACs and PVCs. I suffer from them. Literally suffer. I hate them. Um, the way that I got diagnosed with them is because when I was about 19 years old, I felt my heart do this weird thing. But I only had a regular family doctor at the time, and they basically told me I'm young, I'm fine, nothing's wrong with me. Listen to my heart, nothing's wrong. But I literally insisted that there was just something that isn't normal. So the doctor sent me to a cardiologist. The cardiologist was very old. I wore a 24-hour Holter monitor, and of course, during the 24-hour period that I wore the monitor, I got one PVC. So of course they said nothing was wrong with me. And then I went on my own quest to find a good cardiologist. Found someone, and then I want to say this was a couple years later, because I still kept feeling the weird thing, aka the PACs and PVCs. And went to this doctor, this cardiologist, and they put me on, and this was, yeah, years and years ago still. I want to say this was in the early 2000s. They gave me a 30-day loop monitor where I basically, well, the Holter monitor, let me just rewind for a second. The Holter monitor was in this big, like this big, long, big, chunky box. They probably don't even make them like that anymore. But again, this was like back in like 1999. And so anyways, now this 30-day loop monitor, a couple years later, like in the early 2000s, that I wore, it was like the size of a pager. And basically, it just recorded my heart. It was like a loop. And whenever I would feel my heart do something weird, I pressed the record button, and then I guess it uh, kept a minute before the event happened, the event, and a minute after. So I wore it all the time, and whenever that would happen and I would push the button, I actually had to call in the recording from a landline. So it would happen, push a button, and then I would call, like, let's just say this is the phone. I would put it up to the phone, and then it went like the internet sound. It was like really weird, and it read my heart waves over the landline phone. It was crazy. But anyways, from that 30-day loop monitor, they um, figured out that I have the PACs, PVCs, and then I also have sinus tachycardia, which basically means your heart beats really fast, like above 100. So, um, you know, it wasn't going to kill me, so basically I just suffered with it. And just as the years went on, it literally drove me nuts. I don't know if most people that have PACs or PVCs don't feel them. Well, I was told some feel them, some don't. I really wish I didn't feel them. But, yeah, I feel every single one of them. I hate it so bad. So as the years went by, and it just drives me nuts, I found another cardiologist, and I was put on all these types of medications, even though each cardiologist told me that I don't necessarily need to be on the medications. If I want to be, I can. But they also told me that the medications aren't going to fix the PACs and PVCs. So that gave me a lot of hope. They basically told me that it will lower my heart rate, which might fix the PACs, PVCs, but probably not. But anyways, I was desperate, so I tried metoprolol, verapamil, atenolol, Bistolic. There's probably another one in there too, but I'm not remembering. So I tried all those, and they didn't really work. And I don't like taking medication, so sometimes I just took them when I had symptoms, which of course didn't work. And Then several more years went by, and I didn't really stay on anything regularly. Then a couple more years went by. It was really, really bad again. And this is when my panic disorder and generalized anxiety disorder started to develop. So that made my PACs, PVCs worse, and the PACs and PVCs made that worse. So it was like this vicious cycle. And God, it was horrible. Went to another cardiologist. She was the lead cardiologist in the whole institute. She was really nice. Did blood work on me, did an ultrasound, did a test where I was hooked up to everything and walked on the treadmill. They injected like dye into my veins and looked at how it was beating. And she said everything was fine, and that if I want to stay on the atenolol, I can, but it's not necessary. And I'm sorry, let me rewind. Right before that, I got another heart monitor. This time I wore it for 2 weeks, and I think it was called CardioNet. And whenever you were having symptoms, you could push a button, and it was all wireless. It was like the best one that I had out of the other two. And I ended up in the hospital one of the times I was wearing that because my heart just kept going crazy and going crazy. And the emergency room doctor was able to get the reading strip of what my heart did. And he ended up calling my cardiologist, who ended up putting me on, I think, the atenolol that I'm on now. And I think he put me on something else, and then I ended up going on the atenolol. Whatever. Um, but yeah, so that happened, and I went to this other good cardiologist that I said, and she basically said nothing's wrong. Was really nice about it, but basically that I'm just going to have to live with it the rest of my life. And I wasn't going to accept that because there has to be something to reduce the PACs and PVCs, because I'm 32 now, and I started getting this when I was 19, so that's 10, 11, 12, 13 years. And there has been times throughout those years that it seems to have almost stopped. It never stopped, but it seemed to get a lot less. And then there's other times it gets back up again. There has to be a pattern. And I do, after all these years, I have figured out a little bit of what the pattern is, but, I don't know exactly. But I do know stress. I know not getting enough sleep. I know being dehydrated and not getting enough potassium and magnesium. I know all those things. Oh, and I'm sorry, caffeine and nicotine too. I know all those things can contribute to PACs and PVCs. Now, what I don't get is, up until, let's see, 30, 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, up until 5 days ago, I smoked like a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. I only started smoking when I was like 26. I smoked for 3 years. Then I quit for 3 years. Then I started up again in this past summer. Stupid. Don't ever start smoking. But I started up this past summer, and towards November, December, the smoking got really heavy. And amazingly, I didn't really have heart palpitations. I don't think it was because I was smoking. Of course, smoking can cause heart palpitations, but I quit cold turkey. I just stopped. And it has been hard, but ever since I quit, the heart palpitations have gotten really bad. But I don't think that's why, because at the same time I quit, my situation changed, and I'm a lot more stressed now. So I'm sure that that's the reason. And just a second ago it did it again, and I usually freak out, but since my mind is focused, I'm trying not to. Every single time I feel PAC or PVC, and it's hard to determine if it's a PAC or PVC. Before, I used to think that I could tell which one it is, but I can't really tell anymore. I want to say it's a PVC because it kind of feels like right in here, like low, like in the middle of my chest, but like lower right there. Also, I have acid reflux, so I think that may contribute to it. But, ugh, yeah, it's absolutely horrible. But when I focus on something, just get my mind off of focusing on that, you know, it does help, but it doesn't get rid of them because just a second ago I got it again. Anyways, I watched a few videos on YouTube, and everyone's talking about magnesium, like I said before, and I got this magnesium here. High potency magnesium, 400 milligrams. And I took a pill. So, someone suggested taking a pill an hour before you go to bed. I just feel like every time it happens, I want to call the hospital. I feel like I'm going to die. I mean, it's bad. I would do anything to get them to go away. I know that yoga, meditation, and regular exercise, I heard all of that helps. It's hard for me to stick with a routine where I could do yoga, meditation, and exercise. I have started exercising, but I'll tell you, it's more mental than physical for me because I can physically do it, I think. It's just the motivation whenever you're feeling really depressed and sad, which I'm feeling right now, which probably maybe in some way contributes to the PACs, PVCs. But yeah, when you're depressed, it's so hard and you don't see any hope. So if anyone at all has any advice for me about how to cure or significantly reduce your PACs and PVCs, please post below because I know a lot of people suffer from this, and I would love to see a lot of comments below giving people ideas as to what to do. And please make sure you join the Facebook page, and I'll put that in the link below as well. Alright, thanks for watching.